What's up, you guys? It's your buddy, 5 Bar Doom, and it's Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving with your family and or friends. I definitely did, and I thought, I wanted to do this earlier today, but we're cooking and busy, so I wanted to get this video out before the end of the day, but I did want to do just a little Thanksgiving episode of my whatever this is, because I'm on here. Obviously, I'm complaining a lot about stuff, and to be fair, I think there is a lot to complain about in the foosball world, but today is not the day for that type of thing. And I thought it'd be nice to do a little Thanksgiving episode where I just kind of talk about some of the things that I'm thankful for as relates to foosball. So, I think the biggest one is I'm thankful that I met my wife Beth, through foosball. This is back in 2004. I started playing foosball in 2000. I moved out to Denver, and there was a foosball table at the first company I worked at. It's just a little software kind of startup company. And, it had a tornado kind of home model table. I started playing foosball there. The 3-bar, kind of funny, like this, I don't know, this is going to be a rambling video like all my videos, but the 3-bar and the 3-bar and the goalie rods were reversed. So they had the goalie rod was where the 3-bar was. Now, the difference, maybe you haven't noticed this, but the difference is that the goalie rod doesn't travel as far as the 3-bar does. So, and I learned a pull shot. That was the first shot I was doing. So you're basically doing a pull shot where you can't even move the rod as much as you would on a normal pull shot. Like the straight, you're not as far on the one side to the straight. You can't go dead bar on the other side as far because the rod doesn't move as far. So that was the first table that I got acquainted with. There weren't really any foosball videos. Like, I don't even know if YouTube was like really a thing back in 2000. There was the internet, and they had like the foosball board. If some of you guys remember, there's like message boards and stuff. But anyway, 2000, I started playing. I met Tom Spear, was the first good, tournament player that I met. We were at B52s in downtown Denver. Just they had a couple tables there, and we'd go up there on Friday night, just hanging out with a buddy, just drinking, having fun, and playing foosball. And this guy was just smashing, just in a very casual, funsy kind of way, but just dominating. And it was really cool. Like, I'd never seen it before. We knew we liked foosball. And but from there, I got introduced to the tournament foosball scene, and that kind of took off. And, fast forward to 4 years later, I had a group of foosball friends. I was really, really good friends with Tim Walters and Steph Walters. And, we were best buddies. We'd play tournaments all the time. We'd travel all over the country and play these tournaments. And, in 2004, I was going to go to the Hall of Fame Classic out in Las Vegas at the Riviera. And, they basically, they were friends with Beth. And they're like, oh, you got to meet Beth. She's super fun. And I met Beth out there. And we were just like best buddies immediately for whatever reason. Just really got along. We're hanging out, just 100% friends, but just totally having fun. And, that's where I met Beth. And actually, I met her, the first time I saw Beth was across the foosball table. I wasn't playing her, but, I walked up to her when, like, a match was over and just introduced myself and, told her I was friends with Steph and all this type of stuff. And we just kind of hung out and had, ton of fun that weekend. It was really great. And, later that year, she moved up to Denver. She lived in Dallas at the time. She moved up to Denver, and she was living with her parents. And we got together, and, after we started dating, like a month later, we were moved in together. My lease was up in my apartment, and I thought, we were just like, this is this is crazy. You know, it's not a good idea necessarily, right? Like, basically just started dating like a month earlier. Now we're moving in together. And, you know, it's 20 years later. Now it's, 2024. We are still together. And, I never would have met Beth if it wasn't for foosball. So it's pretty huge, dude. Like, you meet, like, the person you're going to be with forever. 100%. Like, could not be less of a chance that I would ever run into this person if it wasn't for foosball. You know what I mean? And obviously, there's a bunch of other relationships that got started through foosball. So that's kind of the number one thing that I wanted to bring up that I'm super thankful for is I got to meet Beth. You know, we got together. A few years later, we got married. And, now we've been married a super long time. And we're happy. And it's just really cool. And I'm still playing foosball with her. And, we'll team up. We've won expert doubles titles together. It's just really neat. You know what I mean? It's just a kind of a cool thing that we're able to have between each other is foosball. So that's number one. But kind of just talking about foosball more generally, going back to the thing about like meeting Tom Spear and being in Denver, there aren't really that many. It's not like foosball is a thing where everybody knows about foosball. You know what I mean? Like, you might know that foosball tables exist, just in the same sense like I'm aware of the existence of an air hockey table or I'm aware of the existence of a pool table. But even like pool tables, like, what's the ratio of pool tables to foosball tables in bars, right? It's a million times more pool tables. Much more people play pool than foosball. It's just like a very small niche thing. So even to just to have the luck of being introduced to foosball, it's not something that everybody gets. Like, there are certain states, you're in Wyoming. Do they even have foosball? You're in, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I don't know what other states might not have foosball. Maybe, who knows? Maybe Wyoming has a banging foosball scene. I have no idea. But I'm just saying, normally, if you're just living life, you're not running into, places that have foosball tables. And even if you do, you're not, you don't know that there's this whole big competitive foosball scene. You know what I mean? You have to really get introduced to it and kind of stumble into it. And there's only a certain number of places where that's even possible. I wound up in Denver. It was just, luck. You know what I mean? I grew up in Detroit, and I went to Wayne State University here in Detroit. When in my senior year, I was already working remote for a company doing software development, and so I did that my whole senior year. Barely was going to class. I was basically just working full time at this job, and it was really cool. And that company was based in Denver. So the second I graduated, moved out to Denver, and and I wouldn't have gotten introduced to foosball if I hadn't been in Denver and been hanging out in downtown Denver and just happened to be in one of these bars with foosball tables and meet this guy who's just this awesome foosball player. So I was just very lucky. And so I'm very thankful that I even discovered that foosball was a thing. You know what I mean? And I guess with foosball too, just in general, it's such a great game. I'm not gonna call it a sport. I'm gonna stay positive. I'm not gonna get into the whole game sport thing here, but it's a great game, right? It's a lot of fun, good competition. There's there's a lot of skill, obviously, and there's a lot of cool people. It's just a really cool niche little thing that if you do get introduced to it, if you're watching this video, obviously you're in it. You know what I mean? You're in foosball, and you know how it is. And I'm just very thankful that I was able to get introduced to foosball. Foosball itself, I'm thankful. Foosball just teaches you a lot of life lessons too, right? Competition. like as an adult, if you're a kid and your parents put you in sports, maybe you're playing basketball, maybe you're playing football, maybe you're playing baseball or softball, and you can get some competition there. Once you're an adult, like, what are you really doing where you even have any kind of competition? There are things, but I think a lot of people kind of settle into, you just get a job and you're working, and you might have some hobbies and whatnot. Sorry, I'm getting over a little bit of cold here. But foosball is just a really cool thing. It's like you can, learn all these skills. You can compete at a high level, get your heart rate up, and there's something to strive for, right? It's like, it's like you learn about, so like in Denver, I meet Tom Spear. I find out about this bar called the Golden Q. And the Golden Q was the sickest bar, dude. It was a biker bar. It was just like, it was straight up biker bar. It was so cool. They had six tables. I mean, I don't know that I've played at one bar since that had 6 foosball tables. But it has a really nice area in the back where there's 6 tables. And they would run different tournaments there. They would, Monday night singles. That was the first tournament I ever got acquainted with, was this Monday night singles tournament. And there's a lot of great, amazing players there. Tom Spear was there. Tim Walters was amazing. I just looked up to these guys. There's this guy named Mike Belias who would just do these crazy dinks. He was like the dink master. And I just thought it was so cool that these people would have these different styles and they could just be so good at foosball. There was a guy up there. God, I wish I could remember his name. Biker, just like full leather biker jacket. And I'm like a total beginner. You know what I mean? I'm learning the ropes, just watching these guys play, and it was fun. Like, they just welcomed me into the community, and it was just a really great scene. And then you're playing this local tournament, and then it's like, oh, there's this other tournaments. The break room in Littleton. And they would have a draw, and then there's like brings and stuff like that, and you kind of get into it, and then you realize like, oh, there's this whole, people are traveling, we're going to, I played the state tournament in Utah, I played the state tournament in Oklahoma, we went to Montana one time and played the state tournament, and you travel around to all these different places, and it's just so much fun, you meet all these new people. I mean, it's another thing I'm really thankful for with foosball is just getting to know all you guys around the country and even around the world, all through foosball. You know what I mean? It's like you can travel anywhere in the world, and if you look hard enough and if you know who to ask, you're going to be able to find the bar with the foosball table. You're going to be able to find, oh, I hate that thing. You're going to be able to find the local foosball tournament. And it's just cool. You're plugged into this community, and it's just a bunch of cool people that share a common interest, that welcome you in with open arms, and, they're ready to kick your butt at foosball. And I love that, I'm thankful that, for the various promoters that are running these tournaments. Now, today's Thanksgiving. I'm not going to be burning people today. I'm not going to be ripping on people today. And as you know, that's like my favorite thing to do is come on here and blast tournaments, blast people, whatever it might be. But, I am thankful that these people are out here running these tournaments. I know it's a lot of work. Maybe you're making a little money, but you're certainly not making that money for free. It's a lot of work. So back in Denver when I first started, I wasn't super familiar. I didn't really think about it in terms of like this promoter, that promoter, but there are various people running these tournaments, and it was just really cool. They could go to the Golden Q on Monday. They can go to the break room on Wednesday. They go to table stakes in Aurora. They can go to, JK had that place with 25-cent wings, where he had, some tournament out there, and all these people are just running these tournaments. And why are they doing it? Maybe, like I said, maybe make a couple bucks, but realistically, they're doing it for the love of the game. And, that is really cool. And, then I was kind of out of it for a little while. I was in Denver from 2000 to 2005. And then Beth and I decided to move out to Vegas and pursue our dream at the time to like be professional poker players. So, from 2005 to 2017, I didn't play that much. There were some local tournaments in Vegas that we played a bit. But I guess the other thing with foosball too that I'm thankful for is the fact that it's a lifetime game. You have, for example, kid like Sam Dijon, his dad gets him into it. I remember when this kid was there playing, he's on a box, you know what I mean? He's a little kid. His dad makes him this nice little stand or gets this little box thing from wherever. And, he's competing at these tournaments. Now, Sam is an adult. And he is, he's just crushing these tournaments, right? He's like a pro, obviously he's going to be a pro master at some point. Or maybe he is. I'm not going to put any effort into seeing what these people's ranks are. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, from birth, this kid gets introduced to this community. He's playing right now. And how long is he going to be able to play for? Forever, How long am I going to be able to play this game for? Forever. There are a lot of people, you look around your local DYP, how many people are, 40, 50, 60, 60 plus. They're still playing these tournaments. And, isn't that such a cool thing that we have this game that we love? We have a community that shares the same passion for the game as we do. And it's not something where, maybe I will rip on the whole game/sport thing a tiny bit. I mean, hey, I can't be 100% positive all the time. But I mean, if you think of sport, I'm thinking like baseball, football. There's like a physical element. I mean, obviously there's a physical element to foosball, but it's a physical element to where you can still do it even as you get older. You know what I mean? Like Todd Lafredo, let's look at that guy. This guy was smashing tournaments in the 70s when foosball was a thing that paid out big, very successful. And he's still around. He's in Denver, he's playing tournaments, and he's still like a top player, you know what I mean? And you can just continue to be a top player. Whatever skill level you're at, you can just maintain that skill level or grow that skill level infinitely. Let's say you're a 60-year-old guy watching this video. Are you stuck at rookie? Are you stuck at amateur or expert? No, you're really not, and it's like you're not held back by your age or, at the Great Lakes Classic, there was a dude in a wheelchair. I've seen multiple dudes in a wheelchair, but there was a guy, there's a guy in Great Lakes Classic with a wheelchair. I didn't play him, but I heard he had like a nasty push shot. So it's like, no matter where you are in life, you're a kid, you can't even see over the table, or you're a person with some type of disability, where you're in a wheelchair or something similar. These are all things where you can still keep playing foosball and keep enjoying the game, keep enjoying the company of your friends, and participate in this wonderful community forever, And, and as far as I'm concerned, that's what I plan to do. It's like, just maybe just DYPs, maybe tour a little bit, maybe you don't. But foosball is always here for you. So I really appreciate that. Specifically, I appreciate people like, Ray Cordova out in Denver doing a really great job promoting. You might not have heard of the Foos Bash, but like Foos Bash was one of the coolest things it's one of the coolest things I've ever been to, man. Ray, like the original Foos Bash that I went to, I think there was one like back, there's some like maybe way back in the day, like before I was playing or whatever. But Ray rented out this campground and had like 2 tables under a tent, and everybody just went, Friday night, you go there, you set up a tent, and people are just hanging out, playing, doing whatever other stuff, legal or not legal, that foosball people do together. And, it was just like an incredible, fun experience, hanging out with friends, being social, and still having that competitive, fun, just the fun competitive stuff that you get out of foosball is a part of that too, So, and Ray ran a bunch of great, he'd always have like a bring, he'd always have singles. Ray started to run these Ironman tournaments. Like, did Ray invent that? I'm not sure. Feel free to, leave a comment. I hadn't seen it before. He would run these tournaments where it would be an Ironman DYP, where you can either, it was like, I don't know what the entry fee was, like $10. But you could be $10, enter as like a normal DYP, or you pay double the entry, you enter as an Ironman, and now you're playing only one person on the side of the table. And I would always enter, and then he would run an Ironman DYP and a singles tournament right after it. So essentially every week, I would get to play these two singles tournaments where the Ironman DYP, a lot of the good players would play as like an Ironman. So it's like half my matches are singles matches, half my matches are 2-on-1 matches. How dope is that, dude? It was so fun. And and he would run bigger tournaments and stuff. So Ray was just a really great promoter, great guy, and it's just someone who's loved foosball. Like, he was into foosball before I got into it. Actually, in Denver, like, I know he played a lot before 2000. Like, but when I started in 2000, Ray had already kind of been out of it. But, again, it's like a lifetime game, right? So it's like he was kind of out of it, and now he's like the big promoter in Denver. He's doing a great job. So good job, Ray. I think that guy's awesome. Here in Michigan, we have some guys. This guy John K. run this weekly draw your partner. Pretty cool, man. I appreciate John for running these mega draws, and bring your partners and just setting up a nice scene for all the people in Michigan. You know what I mean? And like Michael Stahl and other guys, like they run like the big state tournament, here in Michigan, and it's great. It's great having promoters that are willing to put in a ton of time, ton of effort, deal with a bunch of people being cranky, and they're doing it for the love of the game. I really appreciate that. I appreciate, I'm thankful for like Mary for just being like the best promoter ever. You know what I mean? It's like nobody else is running these giant tournaments. They're 50 tables, 100 tables. Like, when I'm talking about these early 2000s tournaments, there were just way more tables. Like, there was a huge tournaments. And like Mary's been doing it forever. You know what I mean? And it's really fun. I mean, I've been to so many Mary's tournaments. She was like the one giant, like, nationwide promoter. You had these other promoters that would do like, your little draws or even like these bigger state tournaments. But Mary did such a good job running, a series of tournaments, this whole tour. There's, Worlds, she would help, do these little state tournaments. She, the IFP had their own software that, I don't know how that got started, but, Mary had to figure it out, hire some software engineers, and I don't know how she did it, but she did it, and she killed it for many, many years, and I'm really thankful also that Ryan's taken over, right? I mean, if you talk about Mary retiring, it's pretty easy to see how the whole, like, United States foosball scene could just really fall apart even further, And, I might be critical about this or that about these tournaments, but, it's pretty darn cool to see Ryan, Mary's kid, first of all, like, just becoming one of the very best foosball players of all time, for sure. Just super successful guy. And then, he's taken, he's going to put in the effort to start this whole World Foosball Tour and keep the tradition going. This whole, Worlds or whatever, whatever the tournament is in September, biggest tournament of the year in the United States, it's going to keep going, and Ryan's going to make that happen. I just think that's really cool that he's doing that, and that, the American foosball scene is going to continue, in big part to Mary and to all the stuff Ryan's doing. What else am I gonna be thankful for here? Maybe that's the most of it. I guess I don't have too many other. I didn't write down anything. I want to talk about Beth. I want to talk about the various promoters and stuff. And no, never mind. The other thing, obviously I met Beth and we got together and we eventually got married, and now we have this great life together that all has kind of foosball, behind the scenes is a big part of it. But besides Beth, I mean, just all you guys that I'm friends with, man. I've had so many of you are my have been my very best friends, and I've moved around a lot. So when you move around as much as I have, I don't know that many people that have moved as much as me. Maybe if you're a military kid and your dad makes you move around or whatever, but if you're a normal person, you really don't just move around as much as I have. I was in Detroit the whole first part of my life. Never touched the foosball table. Never knew it existed. Besides knowing a soccer table can exist, right? But you don't understand the whole foosball scene is there and that all these wonderful people are involved. And it's I moved out to Denver. Got in the foosball scene there, which was totally banging. So many great players, pro masters, Rob Mares, Garrett Schirkenbach, Gary Edgeworth. Who were the other masters there? It was Spear, obviously. And it's and also just a bunch of other good, expert, or at the time it's semi-pro level players. And a lot of these guys, I moved out of Denver in 2005. We moved back in 2017. You walk back in the tournament room, it's family. You walk in, you see the same people, Tim Walters, Dana Thompson, all these great people that I never would have gotten to know if it wasn't for foosball. And now we have these friendships, Like I said, I've moved around a lot, so it's you do lose touch with people. That's really the downside of moving so much is if you're born somewhere and you never move, then yeah, the people you're friends with in even grade school, high school, maybe they're still your best friends, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. My life has been different. I've moved around a lot. But with each different city I move to, you meet a bunch of new people, and foosball is a big part of that. Denver, I had a bunch of great friends. Moved out to Vegas. There's some cool guys out there. Lewis Cartwright, Marty. I don't know I forget who the other guys out there that were good. That was a really small scene. But that was cool. Moved back to Denver, and now there's a new cast of characters there, Kane Gabriel. Kevin Romero, Ryan Moore was there periodically, so it's cool. Todd Lafredo, I didn't know Todd before. I don't know him well or anything, but he was there. Scott Weidman was another guy there in the early 2000s, and it's just really cool getting to know all these people, and it's just people that your entire life. And if I travel to a tournament and I see these people, it's cool. You get to, you just get to say hi, and, it's just like anything. When you see an old friend, now you just have these friends from all over the country. In Dallas, got to play with all the people down there. Ton of good players down there. Ton of pro masters. Brandon Moreland, what a nice guy. And what is an absolute crusher on the table. Warren Van Landingham, Pro Master, David Raddick, Pro Master, Mike Archer, Pro Master. And these are people that you play tournaments with, but then you also, have had some social interactions with them where have them over your house for a party or go do some Halloween thing with them. You know what I mean? And those are just experiences that are great. And it's these people, just because foosball is a lifetime game, it's cool. You're gonna see these people again, and they're even if it's a small part of your life, they are a part of your life. And now that I'm here in Michigan, I've been introduced to the foosball scene here, and I didn't know what it would be like. I knew that it wasn't going to be, as far as like just ranking wise, like I know like in Michigan, you don't have like all the same number of pro masters or whatever that you might have in, like a Denver when it was really popping off in the early 2000s, or, like in Dallas, you know what I mean? But there's a bunch of great guys out here, and it's been so fun getting to know these guys, like this Mike Beatty, great guy. Really like this guy. I feel like we're legit, becoming like legit friends. And also, like, as an adult, it's hard to make friends, dude. Like, when you're a kid, you're in grade school, you're in first grade, second grade, third grade, you're just going to the same classes with the same people. And, inevitably, like, yeah, you're going to make some friends. That's how life works. As an adult, it's way harder to make friends, man. And, you have work. And, yeah, you're going to meet some friends at work. That's cool. But outside of work, it's really hard to find, like, a social group of people to be friends with, And I'm just really thankful for the people here in Detroit and just kind of Michigan in general, and even like outside of Michigan. Like there's these people coming in from Wisconsin. There's people, it's cool. It's just it's awesome meeting this really cool group of new people that are, a lot of these people are really good at foosball. It's like the rankings don't always tell the story either. It's like maybe people don't have the money or the motivation to tour. I've been making videos about how my motivation to tour is lacking for various reasons. But you meet these people that are coming out trying to crush the weekly draw, coming to the Bring Your Partner. These teams like, Chris Perkins and Bob Navarro. I didn't know these guys. They're really good. You know what I mean? They're really good and they're really nice guys. And, there's so many people. I'm not, sorry, I'm not going to like name everybody in the video, but, there's just a bunch of great guys that I really like to hang out with, Jay and Owen, Brian, Bill Hagee, just a bunch of new guys that I've been able to get introduced to. And now they're our friends. And, they've welcomed me and Beth into the community with open arms. I really appreciate it, dude. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Try not to get all too emotional, even though it is Thanksgiving. But yeah, dude, I really appreciate it, man. It's like it's just such a cool group of people to get to know over the years, and yeah, I am getting emotional. So, but I think that's about it for this video. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm missing. Maybe not. I don't know. But hey, man, I love you guys. I appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving. See ya.